Yeah, welcome, welcome. Yeah.
On post a link for people to join. And today we are going to go to the website of PETA. I've never been on PETA's website. Let's see what it's like.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's go to the Our Story. PETA was founded in 1980 and is dedicated to establishing and defending the rights of animals. Blah blah blah. I don't believe in animal rights. Fair enough. PETA believes that animals have rights and deserves to have their best interests taken into consideration. Kind of cringe, but if your best considerations is not cringe, that's good at least. Um, Regardless of whether they are useful to humans. Okay. Like you, they are capable of suffering and have an interest in leading their own lives. Well, they have an interest in not suffering. I don't know if they have an interest in leading their own lives. Just as people will voluntarily join the military, I'm pretty sure an animal, if it's like Marco over here, is completely cool for living inside of a house and being my pet, given the exchange of not suffering in the wildlife. Isn't that right, Marco? Hello. The very heart of all PETA actions, the idea that it is a right of all beings, humans and non-human alike, to be free from harm. Okay, based. Our world is plagued with many serious problems, all of which deserve our attention. Cruelty to animals is one of them. We believe that all people should try and stop animal abuse, whenever and wherever they can. Based, I guess. Since 1980, PETA has campaigned to establish a global society in which humans consider the needs of what Henry Bettston, noted American writer and naturalist of the mid 20th century, so beautifully called the other nations. We uphold the rights of individual animals to be respected. Rights, you. For most, that means simply leaving them alone. See, that's the thing with the problem. That's one of my beef with rights. You guys are allowed to just be lazy fucks. So long as I don't violate someone's rights, I don't have to do anything. Me watching torture is not a violation of rights now, is it? Hee hee hoo hoo. So yeah, I have issues with rights, but nonetheless, I like the sentiment. Um, PETA opposes speciesism, a human supremacist worldview. Okay, and focuses its attention on four areas in which the largest numbers of animals suffer the most intense for the longest periods of time. In laboratories, okay, base the laboratory stuff is useless. Food industry, cool. In the clothing trade, okay, and entertainment business, fair enough, I guess. We also work on a variety of other issues, including the cruel killing of rodents, birds, and other animals who are often considered pests, as well as cruelty to domesticated animals. Well, that'd be interesting what they mean by cruel killing of rodents. I mean, like the traps or like sticky mouse traps and stuff like that, like trying to get those banned. That's cool. Trying to get like poisons banned. That's cool. Anything that can like cause unnecessary suffering. Cool if you try to ban that. When it comes down to like being like, let's let the rats populate the earth. No, I'm kind of like, hey man, fuck the rats. The rats don't need to breed. In today's world of virtual unlimited choices, animal exploitation is simply unacceptable. We can eat better, educate ourselves better, clothe ourselves better, and entertain ourselves better without torturing and killing animals. Kind of true. So, based. We have the power to spare animals excruciating pain by making better choices about the food we eat, the things we buy, and the activities we support. Based, I guess. Let's go to the about our views. PETA's always been known for uncompromising, unwavering views of animal rights. You guys don't. You guys put down quite a bit of animals each year, though. But if you believe they have the right to life, why are you assuming that's one of the rights? Why do you put down so many animals? Anyways, we aren't afraid to make the difficult comparison, say the unpopular thing, or point out that uncomfortable truth. It means animals will benefit. It's based, but the first part's a little weird. PETA's uncompromising stand on animal rights is an overview that sets PETA apart. Our position may be controversial, but they are always true to our driving message to stop animal abuse worldwide. Just click the videos below. Fucking whatever. Victories, volunteer, work for PETA, in turn. Let's go to the FAQ. Is it okay to eat eggs from chickens that raised in a backyard? That might be an interesting one to see what their response to. Because I think no, because of negative utilitarianism, because it's unethical to like bring things into existence unnecessarily and all that type of stuff, and to maintain their existence, given promoralism and identity nihilism. But when it comes down to it, I'm curious what they have to say. Is an animal rights group. We cannot condone using animals for any reason. Okay, like we use people for all bunch of reasons all the time. Like every time you go into a drive-through McDonald's, you're using an employee to get yourself just a means of food, which is exploiting their labor, because their labor is being exploited by the chain. So it's like we're constantly exploiting things, and people are animals too. So what's the difference? Whatever. Anyways, which is why PETA promotes a healthy vegan lifestyle. Good. Hatcheries breed chickens have desirable traits despite any negative effects which inbreeding may have on their health. Accordingly, wild red jungle fowl, the wild variety chickens have been bred from lay about 10 to 15 eggs a year. The common variety of laying eggs has been inbred to lay more than 300 in a single year. This depletes some vital nutrients, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, basically things everybody already knows if you're in the vegan community. Doing business, hatcheries encourage breeding of breeding to breed and herd chickens. The ethical way to obtain chickens is to adopt them from animal shelters or rescue groups that have the bird's best interests at heart. I'd agree with that. If you're going to purchase a bird to be raising in your own home for whatever reason, you have to buy it from a simple shelter or rescue group. Otherwise, you're contributing to the breeding of animals unnecessarily. And then, yeah, even then, primordialism would be best in the animal's interest if it ceased existing. But given that, whatever life will be living beforehand, if you're rescuing from a shelter, it's probably better than whatever would have been beforehand. So that's at least a win, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you're technically right. You shouldn't probably own pets of any sort. But, I wonder if that's another thing they get into. Many people will choose not to eat eggs for health reasons, or are high fat and cholesterol. Don't care. Best thing anybody can do to help animals is choose not to eat them, and we have many options to as consumers. Going vegan helps prevent strokes. Blah blah blah. Bunch of shit. Okay. Let's go back to the FAQ. Is tattoo ink vegan? Who cares? How do aquariums treat marine animals? Everybody knows it's shitty. Why shouldn't be a cats allowed outdoors? That's interesting because I have an outdoor cat. If it's going to be involved in like cats killing other animals or potentially getting injured, I'm going to have disagreements with that because when it comes down to it, cats get really bored on the inside. So that form of injury, mental form, is different than the physical form. In either way, the physical one can recover. They quite enjoy being outside from a subjective point of view. And when it comes down to it, if it's about like the killing of other animals, well, then primordialism hashtag is a good thing that your cat's killing other things on the outside. So let's take a gander. Cats should not be allowed outdoors for walks on leashes, just as dogs are, and to explore securely fenced yards. A product called Can't Fence In, a flexible mesh barrier that is placed now the fence cats from climbing out. Like dogs or small children, cats let outdoors without supervision are vulnerable to other cars, other animals, cruel people, and disease, feline leukemia, feline AIDS, feline infectious, blah, 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 toxoplasmosis, worms, rabies. things that can be prevented from shots for the most part. These alignments are highly contagious to other companion animals. Many people consider free roaming cats pests. Okay. They do not want the cats to urinate, defecate, dig, eat, or eat plants or kill birds on their properties. Free roaming cats have been shot, poisoned, and stolen by angry neighbors. Fortunately, cats can live happy lives indoors. It just seems like a problem of like humanity being kind of like a piece of shit, though. I mean, that's not like any ethical argument for why I shouldn't have my cat be let out, other than the fact that like people are assholes. I mean, like for like unless you're advocating every single animal I see that's outside, I best take them inside because I have some obligation to not let them be exposed by the outside world. It's kind of like, what are you trying to get at? Gee, like things outside are bad and dangerous. Yeah, we get that. Uh, but when it comes down to it, that's why he has a cat door. You can go inside and outside. You know, bing bang boom. Anyways, uh, sure, you might be exposing them to risks, but the risk of being left inside bored and shit like that also sucks. Plus, they can extinct little birdies and mice and moles and shrews and shit like that. They can catch things, have fun, entertain themselves. Yup. Marco, what do you want? What is Pete's position on euthanasia? Every day in the United States, tens of thousands of puppies and kittens are born. True, and it's horrible. Compared to this, nearly 11,000 human births each. Compare this to the 11,000 human births each day, and it's clear that there can be never enough homes for all these animals. Fair enough. Shelters are struck with trending job of dealing with animals nobody wants. Those who refuse to spay and neuter their animals, who abandon animals when they grow tired of them, and who patronize pet shops instead of adopting stray or shelter animals take euthanasia a tragic necessity. So it's basically just saying yes, we approve of euthanasia, and I guess because it's needed. I guess that implies, I guess, if there was a small minority of animals, euthanasia would be not cool. Well, I think that's silly. Euthanasia should be allowed no matter the case, how many animals there are, if they can be taken care of or not. It's just a ceasing of existence. So it's just kind of like, why would you prolong the life of a bunch of animals for no reason? But whatever, it's a better response than most people give to how he puts animals down and stuff like that. I mean, it's a response, but it's better than nothing. Uh, let's go with number 13. Why does Peter use controversial tactics? We'll look at that one. Let's see. Our mission is to get the animal rights message out to as many people as possible. Unlike our opposition, which is mostly composed of wealthy industries and corporations, PETA US must rely largely on free advertising through media coverage. We do not we will do extraordinary things to get the word out about animal cruelty because we have learned about from experience that the media sadly do not consider the terrible facts about animal suffering alone interest enough to cover it. So we have to view shocking things basically. It is sometimes necessary to shake people up in order to initiate discussion, debates, questioning of the status quo, and of course action. Thus, we tried to make our actions colorful and controversial, thereby grabbing headlines around the world and spreading the message of kindness to animals in 2000s, sometimes millions of people. This approach has proven amazingly successful. Since PETA was founded in the 1980s, it's grown into the largest rights group in the country. PETA entitles more than 9 million members and gladly support globally, blah, blah, raise ducks, convincing more than 2,000 compliments permanently ban animal testing. Basically, they have done things by being controversial. Good for them. Hmm. What, Marco? No. Wow, big boy. Hmm. Hmm. Illuminati. Yeah, that's fucking gay. We're not gonna look at that channel. That's cringe. Okay. I mean, Steve Irwin kind of was a nature lover, so consequently speaking, he was kind of bad. So,
So, Steve Irwin's birthday was last Friday, February 22nd. He would have turned 57 this year. And in order to honor him,
no one gives a
because of
fuck.
course it was, Steve Irwin was killed while harassing a ray. He dangled his baby while feeding a crocodile and wrestled wild animals who were minding their own business. Today's Google Doodle sends a dangerous, fawning message. Wild animals are entitled to be left alone in their natural habitats.
Cringe.
Steve Irwin's actions were not on target with his supposed message of protecting wildlife. A real
Shoot.
wildlife expert and someone who respects animals for the individuals they are leaves them to their own business in their natural homes. It is harassment to drag exotic animals, including babies taken from their mothers, around from TV talk shows to conferences and force them to perform as Steve Irwin did. Animals deserve to live as they want to, not as humans demand. The Google Doodle should represent that. So this isn't actually anything new for PETA. When Steve Irwin died back in 2006, they actually said that he made a career out of antagonizing animals, that this was a bad message to send to children, calling him basically a cheap reality TV star. So essentially the same sort of thing that they're saying now in their tweet. So on a very personal level, I agree somewhat. I grew up watching a lot of wildlife shows. I had like the Jack Hanna tapes. I remember there was like a little baby.
Moral of the story is, I don't care. When it comes down to it, kind of right though. I mean, when it comes down to it, they're not right about the whole like animals have rights and should be left alone in the wild of the thing. Animals are constantly tearing each other apart, and as moral agents, we have an obligation to interfere with that. But when it comes down to the whole idea of like, oh, if you really care about animals, you should probably just leave them the fuck alone. Yeah, that's kind of based. So Peter kind of just dunked on Irwin there. Like, oh, I want to care for all these things. It's like, yo, bro, humans fuck this shit up enough. Just leave them alone. You got yourself killed because you were dicking around where you shouldn't have been, bro. But don't mean to trash the dead or anything. But when it comes down to it, my boy Steve, he kind of got himself murked because he was fucking around trying to promote animal life to be continued on. Hey, karma. The animals fucked him. He wanted them to continue, but they didn't want him to continue. Yeah, I'm gonna go and do some activism outside of the internet.